fishing hat. What's this? All tack and everything. Is that a whistle?
No, I don't know what it is. It's a wooden fish keychain. Oh, it's a fish.
Well, yeah, I see that little keychain. There's a tack here. Shirts.
Can we help you find something?
Nah, just looking to see what all you had here. Alright, let's give you some information on the campsites in the Spring Point Camp Loop. There are 16 sites in there. Of course, you are allowed 8 people per site. It is a full hookup campsite, and it's 20, 30, and 50 amp service in there. It's got the picnic table on a slab, fire ring. It does have water, lantern post with hook. It is RV and tents allowed in there. Restrooms and showers are nearby. There are where they have monthly rate available from November through February. So if you're coming in during the winter months, you can reserve that spot for a monthly rate on that. So it is $24 a night, and they do show a monthly rate which looks like $623 for the month. And of course you have your park entrance fee, which I believe is $5 per person. But if you have the park pass, of course you get in free, and whoever's in your vehicle with you, they'll get in free. And I do believe pretty much all parks, they do have a discount if you have a park pass, that if you're kind of camping out for more than one night, you get a discount on your second night, which I believe is only half price. But double check on that. I do know right now they do have a burn ban going on, which this time of year you're going to pretty much find a lot of parks that are going to have the burn ban going on. Alright, let's jump down here to the it's another part of the Cedar Spring Camp Loop, and it's also RV and tents. It has 16 more sites, and it's 8 people per site. It's a little cheaper than the other loop because it's not a full hookup, and it's $22 a night. And you can also doesn't look like you can do a monthly lease on this little area, but it's all back in. Picnic table on a slab, fire ring, water hookup, lantern post, 20, 30, 50 amp electric, restrooms and showers are nearby, and it's a Spring Point camping loop. And like I say, over there's several loops over there, so just depending on whether you're getting the full hookup or just the electric and water as to where you'll be and what the price will be. It's only about $2 difference in price, but just depending on whether you want the full hookup or not. And then we'll go down here to the White Deer Ranch camping area. It's water and electric only, 30 amp, 20 and 30 amp electric, no sewer hookup. There are 44 sites, and it's 8 people to a site, but it's not showing me that you're able to set up a tent. So that means it's all going to be camper, RV, for setting up in this area. Picnic table on a slab, outdoor grill, fire ring, water, electric, and of course your lantern pole. Now I did, like I say, when we did the drive-through, was looking at some of the back ends or the pull-throughs. Those slabs, a few of them were pretty level for some of the pull-throughs, but most of the back ends, they're either on an uphill grade or a downhill grade. Unless you have something small, then you might be able to get it to one point that it'll level out pretty easy. But other than that, it's going to be a little more difficult. And then they have, let's see, this is in the White Deer Ranch Loop also. and it looks like electric and water. It looks like 50 amp electric, so, well, let me look here again. 30 amp electric and 50 amp electric in here, so just depending on where you'll get as to what amperage you're going to have, whether it's going to be 30 or 50. And I guess the water is not at each camp site or pad. It's kind of maybe a water connection in between two of the campsites, because it says, that you'll probably want to bring two 20-foot water hoses, to be able to connect up to water if that's, what you're wanting to do. This area is also ADA accessible. You got your picnic table, lantern post, fire ring with a raised grill, and the restrooms and showers are nearby. This sites here are $24 a night. And then you have the group camp area. Like I said, it's just one site, and it says it can occupy 48 people. You're walking back in, I guess, from the parking area. You're walking about 100 foot to where the campsite is, so you're going to have a little walk getting back in. But like I say, it's more probably set up for like Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, some kind of family gathering, where you'll have several people, going to have several tents to reserve this area. No water, no vehicles allowed, other than the parking lot, and walk back in 100, well, it says 100 yards. So I guess it's back in a little bit further than 100 feet. Picnic tables back there, 6 lantern poles, and there's also trash cans back there, so you'll be able to use those. It is $42 a night on that. I don't think they have any cabins or anything. Let me see. No, this place does not have any screen shelters or any cabins. Now, I do know this park is not that old. If I remember right, I think you said that it opened up around 2008, I believe. So it's not a very big park. There's not a whole lot of campsites in there. It is beautiful. It is abundant with wildlife, and the trails are awesome to hike. So, hey, if you live close to Wills Point, check out this park. I think it'd be worth the time, whether you're coming to camp out, hike the trails, or come to use the day use area for a picnic or a cookout while your kids, go swimming. I know you can do a lot of fishing. There is a boat ramp there where you can launch your boat, and this lake is a very big size lake, so I don't think there's any restrictions on being able to have a motor out there on that lake. They do have a little kiosk station for renting kayaks, but it's kind of first come, first serve, and really there's only 4 kayaks there, so got to get there early if you want to get you one. Don't know what the prices are, but I'll see if I can't gather that information for you, as well as any other information I can gather on this park. Welcome back, and we are at Lake Tawakoni State Park. Most people, they kind of pronounce it Tawakoni, but the proper name is from the Indian tribe Tawakoni, which pretty much occupied this land in the earlier days. The park is not very big. It's not owned by the state. They are leasing it, and I believe it's 640 some acres. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to get more information on it. It has approximately 5 miles of trails, at this park, and it's got two camping areas. Well, actually three camping areas, but one of them is in the same loop. But I'm going to kind of give you through the map here, which I don't think you're going to be able to read it, but I'll kind of give you a layout of the park area. This is the entryway coming in. Of course, your park headquarters will be right here. They do have like a little store on the inside. It's not a very big building. They don't carry a lot of merchandise, but they do have some in there. Come on through. You'll follow back around. You'll have your dump station out here to the front, where you can dump your trailer on your way out or in. If you come back on around and take that first right, you're coming down into the White Deer Ranch camping loop, and this is for RV or tent. Trying to hold my camera where it needs to be. My tripod stand is not holding my camera. My bracket is loose, so I'm having to kind of do this with two hands, keep an eye on the map and keep an eye on the camera where I'm supposed to be pointing it. But you come off the main road coming in, you'll make that first right, and you'll come down into White Deer Ranch camping area. As I say, this is RV and tent. They're all back in sites. I will give you more information on what the sites offer as far as electricity. I do know, like I say, they're all back in sites, and there didn't look like very many of them were level in this. If you have a small unit, you'll probably be alright, because off the road you're either backing down in or backing up in. And you know, it's going to have like a slope there coming off the road, but then it levels out once it gets towards the back. But if you have somewhat of a long trailer, you know, you might have a little difficulty getting it level. But these are the sites back down in through here. Come on back out and make a right. If you follow back around through, you'll kind of pass a little parking area, which is all day use and parking up through here. But there's a little area there to park where you can basically hike on the trails, and I'll go over that information here in just a little bit. But come on back down, and if you bear to the right, you'll come back down in Spring Point camping loop. And like I say, there's kind of several loops down in here. Some of them are pull through, some of them are back in down through here. This is also acceptable for tent camping. There are, I'll give you information on whether it's full hookup, 20, 30, 50 amp service, but basically it's the same thing here as far as your back end pads or pull through pads. Some of them are level, some of them aren't. There are different lengths as well on these. So you know, before you make a reservation come in, you might want to call the park headquarters and, you know, double check on whether your trailer or camper or RV is gonna, you know, fit in these spots. These are the only campsites in here as far as that goes. Now there is a group campsite, which is, I guess, more or less for like Cub Scouts or big groups that can, you know, rent this area back in here. You are renting the whole area, and I will give more information on that. I'm not sure the prices, but I'll get all that information here in just a little bit. That's pretty much the layout. Like I say, all up through here is your boat dock. A lot of day use picnic tables. Some of them have grills, some of them don't. Your swimming area is also in this area, but there is plenty of parking all the way through here. There is a restroom shower in this area, which pretty much takes care of the Spring Point camp loop. We'll have to use that shower. But then down in the White Deer Ranch, they have their own shower, just about almost center of the whole camp area down in here. So that pretty much gives you information on that. And of course, on the side here, they'll have a list with icons that show you where different areas are. It makes it a little easier to find out where you're going. Now, we'll look at the trail map here. Like I say, there are only about 5 miles of trail in this park. You got the first one up here is Farkleberry Trail, which will be a trail that kind of leads you back in to the other trails where they'll connect up to it. It is only 5/10 of a mile. It's an easy trail. Now I know we were there today, and it had rained yesterday, so there was a lot of that trail that had a lot of mud and kind of standing water still. So these trails do get kind of muddy, you know, after a rain or while it rains. The next trail is the Osage Orange Trail. It is 8/10 of a mile. It's also an easy trail. Then you have your Red Oak Trail, kind of named after the red oak trees. It's only 4/10 of a mile. Your Blackjack Trail, it's the longest trail in there. It's 1.5 miles. It's a moderate trail, but there are very few spots that look like, you know, you're having to navigate around some of the roots that are growing up out of the ground. It does have a little bit of an incline and downcline in these trails, not much, but I mean, these trails are great for hiking as well as biking. You know, there's not very much obstacles that you have to navigate around if you're riding a mountain bike through there. The next site is Spring Point Branch. Spring Point Branch, Spring Point Trail, and Spring Point East Trail, they're basically all in one area as to where the Farkleberry, the Osage Orange, the Red Trail, and the Blackjack Trail, they're all in the other side of the park. So if you're on the first floor, you can get access to all of them off the Farkleberry Trail. And the Spring Point Trails, they're pretty much all together over there. The Spring Point Branch Trail is 0.1 miles. Spring Point Trail is 0.4 miles. Spring Point East Trail is 0.4 miles. And then you have a White Deer Trail that kind of sits off by itself, basically down in the lower corner, which when I flip the map over, I can show you a better location on where these are. But it is a 0.4 mile. All these are easy except the Spring Point Trail. They say it's moderate. I haven't hiked these down here yet. We did the first four, the Farkleberry, the Osage Orange, the Red Trail, and the Blackjack Trail. Like I said, you know, it was a little bit muddy in spots because of the rain, but other than that, these were awesome trails to walk on. Some pretty good scenery in the landscape, the trees, the shrubbery. We did see a lot of deer while we were out there, so this park is abundant with deer. If you're here hiking or camping, more than likely you're going to see some deer while you're here. I'm going to flip this over, and that way we can look at it here again. Down here at the bottom, this is kind of turned the opposite way from the park map. Excuse me. But this is the way you'll come into the park, and there's a little pond here. It's called Pear Tree Pond. I did see someone in there fishing. I don't know how many fish or how good it is fishing there, but there is a little fishing place right there. But if you come on back up in, if you go back into the White Deer area, right before you get to the loop, there'll be a parking area. That's where you'll take that little White Deer Trail. That's all kind of back here by itself. If you go on up back in either back in to the Spring Point camp area, back up in the back circle. You can park there and get on the trail, which is the Spring Point branch trail, and then of course it'll connect to all the other trails up in here. Or you can come back over to the day use area and park back kind of in the back. You can also get onto the trails back there, get on the Spring Point trail. If you come on back out basically to the other end of the day use area here, you'll come to basically that last little parking area. That's where you'll get on the trail, the Huckleberry Trail, or Farkleberry Trail, I'm sorry, that'll lead all the way back down in and connect to your other trails. You'll have your Red Oak Trail back up here, your Osage Orange Trail there, and then of course down here the long one is the Blackjack Trail. This is an awesome area to hike, and when we do the other trails up here, the Spring Point trails or the White Deer Trail, I'll be able to give more information on how those work. Now you can also, from the White Deer Ranch campsite area, there is a little bridge that connects between there and the Spring Point camping area. So you don't have to come all the way back out. If you're walking, you can walk across through the path here, across the bridge to get to that.